Hello, Medfield. Welcome to our newest edition of Medfield People. My guest today is a website designer, Nicole, who grew up here in Medfield. Hi, Nicole.
Hi, nice to be here today.
And tell us how you grew up here.
Well, I was introduced to Medfield when I was 8 years old. I am not going to share my age now, but it was a long time ago. Actually, 36 years ago. My father was dating a young girl who grew up here in Medfield. My parents were divorced, and they obviously fell in love, and 36 years later, they're still happily in love and living here in Medfield. And her family, my grandparents, the Scribners, grew up here in Medfield as well. Wiley bought a farm here back in, I want to say as far back as 1922, I believe. He bought a farm. He was a Canadian, and he came here to Medfield, and his brother had told him he was crazy to do it, and he never lived to see the mortgage paid off. And not only did he live to see that, but so much more. So,
He did.
yes.
And so much pleasure he gave. He used to let the fourth and fifth graders go up on field trips.
Oh,
And they'd love to walk around and see the turkeys and see
Yeah.
the animals and the farm. It was because most of the Medfield is not farms anymore. It used to be
No.
hundreds of years ago, but now it's not.
no,
And it was such a precious thing to still have a farm available. And Wiley was very, very good to us.
yes,
And the kids loved going up there. He'd have little drinks of juice for them.
Yeah.
But favorite memories. The only bad part is I can remember one time coming back. We went by the house by the farm the next day, and one of my kids, day after Thanksgiving, asked me all the turkeys were.
oh,
And I had to tell the truth what happened, where most of the turkeys had gone.
I had those experiences.
I'm sure.
I made the mistake of bonding with 3 of his cows, and I named them Mo, Larry, and Curly.
Oh,
And my brothers used to get a rise out of informing me that we were having Mo for dinner that night.
you're kidding.
So
Oh, my Lord.
I empathize with those kids.
That's so how did you get from the farm to a website design?
Well, I had life journeys of having graduated here, going off to college, going to Africa in the Peace Corps.
You did?
I did. I did.
My son John was in the Peace Corps, too.
Yes, he was. We compare those war stories. I was in Niger. He had a slightly more tropical location than I did. I was landlocked.
Okay, he was in the DR.
Correct. Yep. Yep.
Very rural area.
But you really get an appreciation for what we've got when you go to something like that, and you come back and, being able to get in your own car and drive versus cramming into a, cab with chickens and 9 people in a back seat or holding onto a back. I mean, literally, you took what came by those dirt roads, or you waited days, hours for the next one. So after that experience, I had returned here. I ended up in Maryland. I had gotten a job in Maryland. I was there for quite a while, and I ended up getting married, and 2 beautiful boys who are now a 4th generation here in Medfield, and came back to Medfield after a divorce. My brother had purchased the home next to the farm. And I don't know if you remember Sadie Mafusi. She was
Absolutely.
quite the character. And then her daughter taught in the schools.
Yes, she did.
Miss
Some
Bell,
of my
Catherine
kids, as a matter of
Bell.
fact.
Yes, she
Mrs.
did.
Mrs. Bell also left a lot of money to the library.
Yes,
Metro
she
Public
did.
Library, because I was
Yes.
on the library board at the time.
And that came through the sale of that home, which I'm now in. And being a single parent, working from 6 in the morning till 9 at night, and your children are growing up and you're missing it, I took a leap of faith and said, I want a quality of life for myself and my children. I want to be there, especially with everything that they do in Medfield now. So I started my own business. And I started website development, which was what I was doing professionally for large corporations.
Now, did you take a course in this at college? I understand you went to Regis, correct?
Yes,
Did you
yes,
take
with
a
your
course?
daughter-in-law.
Who's nice. I like my
I
brother-in-law.
like her too. We lived on the Cape together in the summers. Yep. No, I didn't actually. I was a political science major in college.
That's a switch.
I know, it really was. And what happened is when I was working with Senator Kerry, when I had initially returned from the Peace Corps, I was doing a lot of his small business development. And
That's it.
yes, that's where it all started. He planted the seed because I started doing online back in the early 90s, which was like that was like revolutionary to have a website. And now, I think the statistics were in 1992, there were 17,000 websites.
Wow.
You now have millions.
I would think, I'm just
Millions.
curious. I would guess
Yes.
at least that.
Yes. And having gotten there on the ground level, and being where I am now, really gave me an appreciation for really developing quality sites that rank and are found. I tell a lot of the businesses I work with, anyone can have a website. Can it be found? Can your site be found? Does your site have a message that really resonates?
That's a good idea, yeah.
Yep. And if it doesn't, you're wasting your time and your energy. You might as well just go back to, postcards. It's almost like, even in the website world, there are levels of ways in which your message is really effective. And if it's a website that you have 8 seconds online, 8 seconds to grab their attention. If you don't do it in that 8 seconds, they're bouncing right out, and that's called a bounce rate. And if you have a bounce rate of more than 30%, your site's not performing.
Wow.
Yeah.
8 seconds you have.
8 seconds. Yep.
I never know. I'm trying to decide if I've gone on websites, how fast I've clicked off and gone into something else. I don't know.
Put a timer and start timing
I
yourself.
should. I should.
Yeah.
Where did the name web come from?
It's because of the way that the search engines work. It's called a web because it's connected. You think of a spider web, and there's so many avenues, or like all roads lead to Rome. There are so many avenues in which you can intertwine online. You can have what's called a hyperlink. A hyperlink is something that I can have on my website that links to another page on my site, or it could actually be an outbound link going to another website that then in turn comes back to mine. So I always tell people, when it comes to the web, you want to think in terms of being a spider. And Google bots are called spider bots. And they're literally, if you think of the Matrix, they're like these little robotic spiders that just go from Google search engine out, and they crawl. And so they call it crawling the web. So they're crawling from one website to another, and they're literally gathering the information that they get while they're on that site. Now, if it's a website, for instance, about food, everything on that website better be relevant to culinary arts. It better be relevant to cooking. It better be relevant to the keywords that you're sending back to via these spiders to what we call Google's. We call it their big Rolodex, or their file, their index file. Think of when you pull open those old drawers and you go through each folder. Each one of those folders is a website that the spiders have brought back to Google, fed them the information, and then Google deciphers the information, and then they push your site
Pushes
up
it out. Yeah, sure.
and how it's found based on the information that it was given.
It's amazing for somebody my generation. We first bought a computer, I think, in the end of '77.
Okay.
78.
Big, giant, heavy thing.
Oh, it was a huge thing. And but I took a course in beginning programming here at the school, and I thought when I finally could type everything in and get my name repeated all across the screen, I thought, oh, that's a doctorate. I'm a PhD student here. But there was so little available. And then when finally the internet came, it was mind-boggling. It still is to me, just to type something in and have Google find me everything I ever want to find.
I took a course in Medfield High School. We had computer science, and it was dot matrix, and that was where literally you would type if, then, but, go to, and you would put these things in, if this,
really?
then that, go to, and you're literally telling, the technology of that time how to find. I don't even think that technology is used now. But I was so proud of myself that after typing in 5,000 things, my name, and then it would go somewhere, would happen. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
But it is amazing, though.
Yeah, it really is. It it's the tools that are out there. I mean, and WordPress has just blown it wide open now. WordPress is a open platform that is used worldwide, and as long as you develop a WordPress website on a secure server, you don't have to worry about getting hacked and things like that. A lot of hackers out there.
But some good things happen. A couple years ago, I Googled my maiden name, which is Brosnahan. It's
Okay.
an Irish name.
Okay.
Comes from Southwest Ireland, near Kerry and Mayo.
Yep.
And Brosna is the river, is a small river in Ireland, and Han means on the banks of.
Okay.
So we knew right off where the family was. So I Googled it and was trying to get some more information. And a few days later, I got an email from somebody whose name was Pat. That's all I knew.
Yep.
Was I related to the Brosnahans in upstate Pennsylvania? And I said, indeed I am, because it's not a common name. So,
Yeah.
and it turns out her grandparents lived 2 doors away from my grandparents.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it was weird. And then she said she was going to go visit in Bransdale, where they came from. Would I like to join her? And I wish I could have, but I had 6 kids, so it wasn't, and,
Yeah.
you know, and we had grandkids staying with us sometimes, so I said I couldn't do it. But she called back, and our grandparents are buried 2 plots away from each other in St. Vincent Cemetery there. I mean, it's a friend you'd meet, a connection,
Yep.
that somebody you never met before, and never will probably meet ever.
And you asked why it's called the web. You see that now?
It's amazing.
It intertwined the two of you. Yep.
Just amazing.
Well, I'm sure you know that my father's last name, which is my maiden name, Amnott, is not one of the most popular. In fact, when I first came to Medfield, I'll never forget, I'm sure you know the name McGuire. Their daughter Christine sat behind me, and they asked Nicole Amnott, and I was new. And she's like, is that like could not, would not, should not? And
Oh, jeez.
we became best of friends after that.
I know Christine well. I know her parents are good friends
She
of ours.
was hysterical. And so Amnott, I've gone through the exact same thing. I'm like, I wonder how many Amnotts are
Sure.
out there, you know?
And how many are there?
Not many. Not many. It seems that we've got a little contingency that headed to Florida, and we are related. I think it's through an uncle or something of mine that was like twice removed or something. It's very, very uncommon. So I think if you have that name, you're related somehow.
Yeah, my mother would have loved this. She was a chemistry major in college, but she was fascinated, and she'd come visit us and seeing the computer, how it worked.
Yes.
But unfortunately, she died in the middle '80s, so she never got to see everything. She would have loved Google, and she would have loved all the websites, and she would have loved searching for things.
And she would have loved what it could have done to help her with her own work.
Sure.
It's amazing. There's just so many things on the web that you can just research. You know, they say the web is either for informational purposes, educational purposes, or purchasing, financial.
And fun.
Yes.
I think it's also fun.
Yes. And my sites are fun, so I like to make them, I like to customize them really according to the person I'm working with. Everyone, to me, that owns a small business has a story. And I want that story to come out because there's a reason they're doing what they do. There's a reason that their business exists and is what it is. You know, there's a passion there. There's a belief in what they're doing and what they want to share, you know, with other consumers that they feel will enhance their lives. And I like to bring that out when I develop their sites. So if you go to my sites, they're very unique according to that individual.
And how would they reach you?
ChelseaNicoleStudios.com.
And spell Chelsea for folks?
CHELSEA, like the city of Chelsea.
Okay.
Nicole without an H, NICOLE, studios.com.
Okay.
And we put studios in there because we're very, very visual. We're very graphic, and we are very focused on a lot of websites. You'll go and you'll get what's called a stock photo. You can go to Google Images, pull different pictures off of Google and say, yeah, this is relevant to what I'm saying, stick it out there. Chelsea and I will come to you. We will take pictures of you, your site, your facilities, your products. We'll even take, say if you're a landscaping designer, you know, and you're landscaping, we'll go to where you've done some landscaping work and get your own works and
Good.
really personalize it. You know, we really want them. Our goal is we're gonna take over the web one site at a time. Yep.
I'm glad you warned us all.
Well, the reason being, how many times have you ever put in keywords for something and then get back not quite what you were looking for?
Often.
Frustrating, isn't it? We want that when you put them in, you get exactly what you're looking for, and you're going to find it because we're going to make sure that it ranks. That's called search engine optimization, but that would be a whole nother day of conversation.
But that sounds fascinating. No, I love that idea.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yep. So, and I love it and I believe in it and I love the flexibility it gives me to be with my children. I have currently a fifth and sixth grader. So one is at Dale and one is at Blake. And they love it here. They absolutely, they came to Medfield 2 years ago and they've embraced it and Medfield's embraced them.
That's great.
It's wonderful. It really is. They're both little athletes, so good town to be in.
Soccer, lacrosse, football? What?
Football and basketball.
Football and basketball.
Yep. They retired from baseball.
So they're tall kids?
Cameron, my 12-year-old, is an exceptionally tall kid. He is 5'9".
That's pretty big for a 12-year-old.
I thought it was. But he joined AAU, which is American Amateur Union for sports. And we travel the circuit and we see sixth graders like himself that are 6'3" and over.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Don't know what's in their water, but I thought my 5'9" kid was a big kid until
That is a big kid, I think. I mean, a lot of men are 5'9" when they're fully grown.
he's a size 12 men's shoe.
Oh, jeepers.
Yes. Yes.
But they're happy. Where does your friend Chelsea, your partner, I guess I should call her, where does she live?
She's an import from Connecticut. She just moved into Grafton. We have 2 locations now. We're in Medfield, and we are actually getting official office space in Worcester.
Oh, really?
We are. Worcester apparently is going through a big revitalization. Tim Murray, our former lieutenant governor, is now president of their chamber and has put a lot of initiative to develop Worcester. So all the small businesses I work with need to focus on Worcester.
Really?
That's where revitalization is going. That's where they can offer their products and expand.
So
Very much.
you would be traveling out there then at regular intervals?
I will, not Monday through Friday, but regularly, like you said. If I have a client, we've got it's a neat concept. It's called co-working, and if we could come up with this concept in Medfield, I would love it. You find space, and different businesses rent it together, and you have your own office within that space, but then you share a conference room, you share a kitchen.
And a receptionist, probably,
Yes,
that kind of
yes. And it's all paid for by your rent for the whole facility.
thing. That's
But
a
it's
great
affordable.
idea.
I love it. It's called co-working.
That's a great, I don't know if we have any like that here in
No,
Medfield.
but I think maybe we should look into that.
Yeah,
And
you can start something new.
I probably will. We have a close concept to it. One of my clients, Holistic Wellness Center, leases out some of their office space. And it's I joke with Dara and Sarah, the owners, and I tell them, if I ever want a relaxing place to come work, this is it. It's very, very...
And Dara O'Connor grew up here too.
Yes, she did.
Dara
Yes.
March was her maiden name.
Yes.
And she's a good lady. She was an EMT with me.
She actually knew me when I had returned from Maryland. She's like, I know you, but I wish I knew you under better circumstances. She was the EMT who would work with my grandfather when
I did
he ever
too.
had to go.
Oh, I did too.
Did you too?
Yeah, I did too. I
I'm
wasn't gonna
sure
say
those were fun trips.
there were some very bad trips.
Yeah.
There were
yeah.
some very bad trips.
He was a great role model to have as a young girl growing up, and just very Christian, very grounded, very honest, and just it was always very calming to be around him. You know, you're in this fast-paced world, and then there's somebody who's just so content, and Christine too. You know,
They both were.
my parents joke. You asked me for a funny story, right?
Okay, got one?
Yes. Being a little upset that my own parents had divorced. When you're young and you're dealing with it, you still want them together. You ask me now, and I think, fate has its course for a reason. And I wouldn't have met Wiley and Christine, I wouldn't be here.
True. That is true.
So the first thing I ever said, I was 8 years old, they introduced me to Wiley and Christine. And we're driving back to my mother's house, which was in Georgetown. My stepmother, Ann, their daughter, says, so what did you think? And I said, I like old people. And she said, and why is that? I said, they stay together.
Oh, now that's coming from a youngster. That's a pretty big statement. It really
Yeah.
is. They stay
Yeah,
together.
They do, and they did. And, it was, like I said, everything's for a reason. And so I couldn't be happier about it, And it's funny because my parents were a great role model for the perfect divorce because every sporting event, whether it was in Medfield or Georgetown, because my brother stayed in Georgetown, I came to Medfield, all four of them were there. And when I say all four, it was my father, my stepmother, my stepfather, my mother.
Sure.
All four cheering us on.
That's great.
Yep. Lisa used to joke at Regis about it because all four of them would be at Regis. And she'd be like, oh, here comes the Fab Four to cheer on Nicole for her. Because I played basketball at Regis too.
Well, I don't think there are many divorces that have ended that nicely for the children involved.
Their priority was the children.
And they were absolutely right on.
They did something right because they had two sons that went off to the United States Military Academy at West Point, and they're doing
Wow.
wonderfully in life. And then they have their daughter here who I had a scholarship at Regis, went off to the Peace Corps, and then came back and became a small business owner. So clearly, products of divorce don't have to mean, unable to accomplish great things. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just lucky I've been married for so long.
I know.
58 and a half years?
Has it been? Oh,
58.
that is wonderful.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Not many can say that.
I have a good friend who just had her 60th.
Well,
60th wedding anniversary, and I don't think I've ever known one other person that was married that long.
No. I could honestly say I don't. Wiley and Christine.
Were they married over 60 years?
Let's see. They were married over 60 years. I want to say it was 62. I remember doing their 40th anniversary and their 50th and 60th.
Okay, so they
And
did.
then, yeah.
But very, very few.
And they married older. They were older when they got married.
Maybe that's a secret.
It could be.
Yeah, I was 21. Right
Well,
out
that
of
is
college.
not the secret. You were
Right out of college and worked.
Wow, that's wonderful. And did you grow up with your husband?
Did I grow up here?
No, with your husband. Did you guys grow up together?
No, I'm from Philadelphia and he's from New York.
Okay. I'm
We
from
met
New
in
York
college.
originally. Okay.
Met in college.
Very good.
It's just funny how you meet different people at different times of your life.
Yes.
And things work out well.
Yes. And then when you do a full circle like I did and come back, and it was funny when my first week back to Medfield, I went down to the church in town, and I'm sitting there, and Lisa is up on the left, and Kathy Feeney Ferris, who is also a resident here, who also went to college with us, is up on the right, and I'm in the back, and they both turn around, and they're like, what are you doing here? I said, I live here.
Oh, that's fun.
Yep. So three of us that went to college, and then a fourth, a girl I grew up with here, Meg McWilliams. She's now Meg Garvey. Her sister is still here in town, and she and I went to high school and college together. So it's a big world, but it's very small.
Yeah. It's a tribute to the town, I think, that when people come back, like 3 of my children are back here in Medfield.
Three?
3 of them are.
Okay.
And,
I knew your son was. I didn't know
Yeah,
your other
and
children were
I have
too.
2 more. I have another son on Orchard Street and a daughter on Boynton.
It does say a lot. And my son Cameron, my oldest, it's non-negotiable. We're not moving. We're staying in Medfield, and then he's going to take over the farm. Yes.
Why not?
Yeah. Yeah. So that farm will be there. Speaking of, again, I have to apologize for you this morning that we were a little late because we had some ponies on the loose. So just call us up on Harding Street if you see ponies walking around Medfield. Those will be ours. In fact, Gus Murphy has a horse over there that he boards at the farm. And I love his horse. Gus, I'm taking your horse. Her name is Olivia.
Okay.
Every morning I will come out of the house, and you can only get this in Medfield. I walk out the back door, and Olivia comes right up to the gate because our property's a butt, and she leans right up, and she will, call her to me, and then if that doesn't get right, she will literally kick the fence because she knows an apple's coming. So, how often do you get that kind of thing?
Gus is a good friend, and he's chairman of the Warrant Committee, as you probably know.
Yes.
And
Yes.
has set a really good example there.
Yes.
In fact, my daughter Barbara is a new member of the Warrant Committee,
Okay.
the one that lives in Boynton.
Well, he's a great neighbor.
She has the same high opinion of him that I do.
Yeah.
Very, very decent, good man, hardworking man.
Very, very much. And he just, he's got that horse over there. He's had her there for years. She's a great horse.
Now, are you glad you did the Peace Corps?
I am glad I did the Peace Corps. if any child or anyone going into college and graduating you have to have your degree. You have to go through college. That is one of their prerequisites in order to join. It's just something that you get so much more out of it than you put in. I was in a village, Niamey, in Niger, and these people have nothing, absolutely nothing, but yet they will find, like during their Ramadan season, it's all about the community and raising the community. And one child from that village is selected to go overseas to get an education.
Oh, wow.
And
all
then
by
come
himself?
back.
All by himself?
Well, they use the connections through the Peace Corps to have.
Wow.
So, years later, I got this letter from this little girl who I called her my posse because she would follow me everywhere I went. And she had come over and she was trying to look me up. Years later, she was a little 4-year-old, and now she's a 21-year-old woman.
Wow.
So that was amazing.
And it was life-changing then?
Absolutely. When you don't have running water, you don't have electricity, you have to be aware and conscious of everything as far as like malaria is really bad in that particular region. And you have to treat your water before you can drink it. Just the different things that they have to be, that we just take for granted. We don't have to worry about those types of things.
My son had to walk down the mountain to take a bath in the stream down at the bottom, and of course he'd be so dirty by the time he came back up with the dirt roads. But I remember we went over several times to visit, and at one point we were watching some little girls walk into school, and they had white socks on these dusty, dirty roads, and I thought, how in the world does their mother keep them so clean? They were immaculate.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I've often wondered how they did all that.
Those women should be role models for it's funny when I went through the divorce and I'm like, I'm single, I'm working, my life is just so hard, Go to Africa and watch these women with a child on their back, they're strapped, literally, because they have to work the fields and they have to be out there, and then they've got 3 of them running around. So while they're working, they're still being a parent. They're literally juggling it, and these are conditions that are like 103 degrees, and they're just physically exhausted, mentally exhausted, and they do it day after day after day. And I just have a whole new appreciation for, the power of women.
Yeah, my friend Rossi Cusack was working at Polaroid, and he asked me if John had any way to take pictures for the kids. So Rusty got us some, evidently Polaroid had a program where they would get cameras to people like that in the Peace Corps. So he gave us a couple of cameras and lots of film. I can't remember how many packs of film he gave us. And we brought them with us when we went over, and the children had never seen their pictures before.
No.
Never. And the excitement, John said it was like he was a multimillionaire when they saw it. And then they didn't have any balls, so I used to play tennis every morning, or most mornings before I went to work. So I got all my tennis friends to save the tennis balls. And we sent some over, and then next time we went over, we had, I think, 2 or 3 suitcases full of used tennis balls. Again, it was the same thing. It was like Christmas time. We were in the mountains. They had never seen all this stuff. Big appreciation when we came back for what we had.
Their eyes are, and then it was funny because you mentioned the Polaroids, but what we had to do when we used those pictures is explain to the children, because where we were, they were Muslim, but there were also a lot of Tuareg tribes. Tuaregs are like nomadic tribes that just move from one location to another, and they're very superstitious. We had to let them know we didn't capture their soul. One parent got really upset when we took a picture. Ripped that picture up, and they went after the kid who took the picture. And then when our tour guide explained to us, you have to let them understand what this is, that it's a drawing, and and that thought never would have occurred to me.
It wouldn't have occurred to me either.
Yep. So it just gets your brain to see things a whole new way when you go to something like that. It really does.
You have quite a background there.
I've been busy. I've been busy. And like you were saying with my father, who's, out there with, the brush cutters at 77. Maybe I get it from him, or, I guess maybe I see how healthy he is. that I want to keep that for myself too. Here's another funny story for you. When I came to Medfield, I played in the band, the marching band.
Okay.
And my dad, he's infamous in town, and if anyone knows him, they'll know him either by his hat or his walking cane. He has this cane that he makes, right? He makes custom canes, and he designs them after guns because he's a little bit of a gun enthusiast, where he likes old antique guns, that type, right? Mm-hmm. But he always has this cowboy hat. He's had this cowboy hat, I think, since I was born, right? I hate that cowboy hat. I've always hated it. And I'm new to the school, and I'm thinking, as I'm getting ready, and my father and Ann were going to come see me marching in the band. And I'm thinking, please don't wear the hat. Please don't. I was so fixated on him not wearing the hat that when it got time for us to go do our routine, I misstepped.
Oh.
And instead of, when we were all supposed to turn left, I turned right, and now I'm by myself, and the whole band's over here.
Oh, jeepers.
Fortunately, these kids were so on the ball that they knew improvisation, and it was going right into where the flutes were starting. So they let me start almost like I was supposed to be a solo. And then we went into it.
That was well done.
That was remarkable.
That was amazing. That's amazing that some youngster thought of that.
Yep. She was like, Nicole, we get Denise Barton. She's from Medfield too.
I know Denise.
Yeah, she's a lawyer, I think, out
Yep.
in California. She's like, we got this. Start the solo. So I did. And I'm like, doing it. And we pulled it off. So
It's too bad you can't do a website for all those youngsters that were in the marching band with you.
I know.
Fun.
I know.
You've
reach
looked at
out.
the town websites, I'm sure.
I have. I'm always looking, and I'm always looking at how they rank. I'm always happy to offer free consultations. There's some, and I don't want to come off critical, but there's some that could use a little work. And so if anyone wants an honest, maybe I should go look at my site and go see if it's performing, and maybe I should give Nicole a call. I do a free consultation.
That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I will show you how it's performing. I'll show you how it's ranking for keyword search. I'll show you if you've got that 8 seconds of fame or not.
Okay.
And if it's going to make a call to action, we call it a call to action. On every front page, every home page, you should have video. Everyone wants video. It's the fastest way and the most transparent way to get your message. And there should always be a call to action, whether it be get an email address or contact us. They have technology now, and I put them on sites that once they hit contact, that information for that site kicks back to your cell phone. So you've got it.
Oh, jeepers.
You've got it indexed already.
I didn't know that.
Yep. I got all kinds. I'm the app girl. I love apps.
My eyes are bad and I can't use the cell phone anymore.
You can. I can show you after we're finished how to increase the font on your phone.
Even then, can't get big enough.
Still, yeah.
I can get one letter on there, and that's all.
Talk technology.
Yeah.
Your phone can talk to you now.
Yeah.
If you
Getting
want
there.
that. Yep. And then another app I have to support small businesses that I do websites is I have a loyalty card program. And if you participate in the card program, I'm doing it free for the first 100 businesses that join on because I want to get validity behind it. If you say Starbucks is participating and you walk in, your phone will beep to you, free upgrade on your coffee today.
I love it.
Whatever promo they want to offer. Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I've got like the Dish Medfield. I have to put a plug out to them. They deliver food to homes on Wednesdays. They have the most amazing food. They're amazing.
And what do they charge for these meals?
It varies. You can get it by plate, or you can get like a whole meal for 4. I think for like anywhere from $50 to $75 a meal for 4. But it's not a meal. It's like 2 or 3.
It's gourmet.
It's gourmet, but they give you. They're so generous.
Oh.
When they deliver to us, we get like 2 or 3 dinners out of it. And when you're busy and you're running around and you want to just be able to come home and have a home cooked meal that you can just heat up, it's every Wednesday I try to take advantage of that. But they offer a promo, so if them being e-commerce, what would happen is you'll just get every Wednesday when they're going to do deliveries a reminder that if you let them know you're a Everything But the Sink customer, which is now Chelsea Nicole Studios, but it's still Everything But the Sink card. And the reason it's Everything But the Sink, because everyone can be on it. Everyone, and if it's the sink, it's just someone who hasn't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
but it will let you know what special they're offering for that delivery the next week.
Great.
Yeah, yeah. So apps, website presence, graphics, branding. That's everything that Chelsea Nicole Studios is about.
Okay, and at the end of the studio, we'll have them post some contact information for you.
That would be wonderful.
I think that would be a big help.
I would love it.
Do you have any parting words?
I do.
You do.
I
How about that?
do. It's our little tagline. It relates to marketing. That and I think even in life it should. Be bold, be italic, but never be plain.
Oh, very good.
Yes.
Very good.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Nicole, and best to you and Chelsea and everybody else that uses your sites. I hope they do well. I really do. Thanks again, my friend.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Richard DeSaga, and you are watching Medfield.tv.
This program was made possible through the generous support of your Medfield friends and neighbors, folks just like you. And thanks for watching.